All right, so the marriage between Muhammad and Aisha is a very infamous one because Muhammad was around the age of 50 at the time. He married Aisha when she was 6, and he consummated the marriage when she was 9. We know this from hadith. I'm just going to cite one hadith because that's really all you need when it's an authentic Sahih hadith. This is Sahih Bukhari 5134. It says, narrated Aisha that Muhammad married her when she was 6 years old, and he consummated his marriage when she was 9 years old. That's an authentic hadith. There's not really any debate over the numbers. Sahih Bukhari 6130 says, narrated Aisha, I used to play with the dolls in the presence of Muhammad, and my girlfriends also used to play with me. When Muhammad used to enter my dwelling place, they would hide themselves, but Muhammad would call them to join and play with me. And then it's added in parentheses, that the playing with the dolls and similar images is forbidden in Islam, but it was allowed for Aisha at the time, as she was a little girl, not yet reached the age of puberty. So this debunks the whole idea that Muhammad married Aisha before she hit puberty, because they accept from Sahih Bukhari 5134 that Aisha was 9 at the time, but they say, well, maybe she hadn't hit puberty yet. Maybe she had hit puberty yet. But now from this verse, we can say that when Muhammad was seeing Aisha, she had not hit puberty yet. Now some may say maybe that was from an earlier time, back when Muhammad was just close friends with Abu Bakr and, he knew Aisha. But no, we know from Sahih Muslim 1422, it reports of a time when Muhammad was with Aisha sexually and she was playing with dolls. So the whole idea in Islam is that you're not allowed to play with dolls or any images because that's forbidden. That's why you never see any pictures of the prophets, because it's forbidden. You just see calligraphy of things. You may see Allah written in Arabic, as calligraphy to look nice, I guess. It's stupid. It's dumb. But that's why Aisha was allowed to play with them, because she hadn't hit puberty yet, so she wasn't at the age of accountability. And anyone who dies before the age of accountability, I guess they immediately go to Jannah, so they can do haram things. It is what it is. Sahih Muslim 1422 says, Aisha reported that Muhammad married her when she was 7 years old, and he was taken to her house as a bride when she was 9, and her dolls were with her, and when Muhammad died, she was 18 years old. This shows that while they were having a sexual relationship, Muhammad and Aisha, she was still playing with dolls. It says, when she was taken to his house as a bride when she was 9, and her dolls were with her. That's disgusting. This is disgusting. I ain't even going to dog on Muhammad. I'm dogging on Satan. I'm dogging on this false pagan moon god Allah. That's stupid. This is stupid. This whole stupid religion has led to so much pain. And then also, there's little things in the Quran that support this idea of child marriage among little girls and these old men. You're going to talk about the Catholic Church. Yeah, sure, talk about the Catholic Church. Priests and altar boys, raping them orally. You're going to talk about this, where it's consensual. At least in the Roman Catholic Church, when a priest rapes a little boy, it's not accepted. But in Islam, it is accepted. Maybe not in the West, but in the East, definitely, because that's what the Quran says, and these Muslims in the West are weak on their own faith. So, of course, they won't follow what the Quran and Muhammad and the Sunnah actually taught. In the Quran, in Surah 65, verse 4, it was talking about the Ida, the waiting period in between women being married. And the waiting period, the Ida, was 3 months for women with menstrual cycles. This junk gets me so mad. And for women with menstrual cycles, the waiting period in between marriages, so before they could divorce and then consummate another marriage, it was 3 months, just in case they got pregnant or anything. So it was easier to tell who the dad was if they were to get pregnant. But as for women who didn't have a menstrual cycle, so women who could not menstruate, they could not give birth, they could not get pregnant because they didn't have a menstrual cycle, it said there was no Ida. It says, as for your women who have gone through menopause, pretty much. And then as for your women who are too young to have a menstrual cycle. Too young to have a menstrual cycle. It's right there. You can't justify this. Like, if you are still justifying the Quran, if you are still justifying Islam because you think that's the will of Allah, then you're sadly mistaken. Because there's no way God, the same God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, there's no way that God supported this crap. Pedophilia, ruining the minds of little kids. In fact, Jesus taught against it. He said, anyone who turns away one of these little ones who is my disciple, it would be better if a millstone was hung around his neck and he were thrown into the ocean. What he's saying is hold Muhammad accountable. He'll be held accountable on Judgment Day if he didn't repent before he died. And I say if Muhammad didn't repent before he died, because there's always a small chance he did repent before he died. Realize Jesus is Lord. It's slim, but I hope he did. I hope he repented of his sins to the real God, not Allah. Because apparently Muhammad repented 70 times a day, asked Allah for forgiveness, made tawbah. But this is stupid. This is stupid. So much pain has been caused because of this God-forsaken religion. And it's right here in the Islamic sources, within 100 years of Muhammad's death. It's right here with the people who knew Muhammad. From Aisha. Aisha wrote these things. Not wrote these things, but Aisha narrated these things and reported on these things. And even in the Quran, it supports child marriage. So who could support this? Who could support this crap? Are you a pedophile if you support this? Or does a Muslim become a pedophile because they're a Muslim? Or does a pedophile become a Muslim because they know that Islam supports pedophilia? In fact, if you read Psalms, you would know that hurting a child is one of the things God hates. In Proverbs 6:13, well, no, not 6:13, but in Proverbs, in the list of the things the Lord hates, hands that shed innocent blood is one of them. Anyone who hurts an innocent child, that's one of the things God hates the most. And yet you're going to pervert the name of God by saying that he supports pedophilia. And that the greatest man to ever live was a pedophile. No, the greatest man to ever live died on the cross. Now, please choose to accept this truth, because if you don't, there will be a painful punishment. Jesus is God.